Hello, Ultimate Bushido here, and today I'm going to show you a Cell Raider guide and hope it lets you understand his strengths and weaknesses throughout the entire match. And hopefully, if you want to choose him as your main, you can. And if not, I'll go over Frieza and Boo and what their strengths and weaknesses are too. His playstyle is Search and Destroy, meaning that you will have easier time finding survivors left and right. They can't hide from you unless they're out of your proximity for key detection. But I'm gonna go over all of his stages. He has the fastest level 2 in the game, so he can get out of level 2 really quick, literally 30 seconds into the match, maybe 15 seconds if you're really lucky. It's really faster than all the other raiders, and it only takes 5 seconds to finish someone off. And like, I'm so glad it only takes 5 seconds, because if it was like Boo, you'd be stuck forever. All right, let's go over his first form. His strengths, he has none. There are no strengths and benefits for being in first form. In fact, you might as well just be a survivor and be called a useless thingamabob in the game. But you can still attack and down survivors if they're cocky enough to think you can't fight back, which you can definitely can, and down them a lot easier. But if they're like, if there's any survivors at like level 1, 2, or 3, they can fight back and get away from you. And his weaknesses are he has no range attack. He only has a close attack, which is basically a tackle, and he can't fly, so he can't cover any ground or know where any survivors are at. He has no pressure on the map other than his terror radius, and people are scared of the terror radius of a heartbeat or larva. So if they hear it, they'll be like, "Oh, I got to get out of the proximity." But if you're a good survivor, you play long enough, you can easily be like in his terror radius, and you can bait the larva guy for a while just so he won't eat a civilian. And literally, you are heavily reliant on trying to kill civilians or survivors, mostly civilians. But if you have bad RNG and you can't find civilian, you can't get out of this form, and you could probably stay in this form for up to 2 minutes if you're having bad RNG and the survivors are, clearing out the civilians faster than you can eat them up or find them. So yeah, first form Cell, the weakest, the hardest. Well, not the hardest, but it is the weakest form that he can be in. All right, let's go to second stage. Second stage, it's about an average form. I wouldn't say it's of course, it's not the best form, but out of it's better than his larva, and it is something. It's something better than nothing when it's second form. He unlocks a Ki Blast that is about medium range ish. It does some splash damage, somewhat like his final form, but his final form is way better. Second form unlocks, key tracking, which is the key detection, which allows him to find survivors, which, like I said, is a search and destroy playstyle. A key control, which allows him to go key control allows him to hide his flying noise, and also removes the detection from the survivor's radar. Basically, what I mean by that is usually you get a notification like a giant red giant red hovering dot in the air. Survivors will see that giant reviving. Survivors will see that dot, and they'll know that you're over there, and they'll just carry on their way. But if you walk on the ground, because of your key control, you can remove that dot, and they have to be within heartbeat range in order to know you're nearby. And then they'll know you're even closer when they hear your feet squeaking. So they'll hear the heartbeat first, but then they'll hear the feet squeaking to know if you're close by. But if you are using key control, you can remove your green flying aura around you, and they won't know where you're at unless they're close, which is great for key control. It's basically undetectable. You remove the red stain, just like in Dead by Daylight. You can go undetectable free at will, as well as tracking a survivor with key detection. All right, which is great for sneaking up on people. So that's another strength. His other strength is his His next strength is his special attack, which is full power energy wave, which is useful for single target and does some splash damage. So yeah, it's great for getting some sniping somebody that does splash damage. If you know you're not going to hit them, like your ki blast is a medium range, but if you use this, you make your ki blast a long range and do a little splash damage, which basically it's a kamehameha. Just think of this as a kamehameha on your own will that does splash damage. Really great for getting people off of Bomo bikes if you can predict where they're gonna go. Special beam cannon is your single target hard hitting attack, used only for single target, and you want to do some high heavy damage. And the best thing about and the thing about second form is the moment you get in second form, you want to start hunting survivors right away. Ignore civilians, maybe eat one civilian, but start going after survivors. Because the moment you go to second form, you are literally you are literally searching the people to destroy them. Search and destroy, hide and seek. You are the king of hide and seek. You know where they're at. Okay. Let's go over other skills. Solar Flare. It's okay move. I wish it was something else, but you get what you can use. Solar Flare is rarely ever hit at all. It's mostly used for survivors that are fighting back and getting close to you all the time. If you know someone's trying to fight you at all times, Solar Flare to stun them to get away, or to hit them, to give them a good lick too back for trying to be aggressive. It's pretty much used for aggressive player. If they try to, yeah, it's pretty much used for aggressive plays if they try to fight back. Now it's not really good for range. They have to be looking at you in order for it to go off. Anyway, it's all right. You can use that. You can use this for cave. Like before you walk into a cave, you can use Solar Flare to try to blind them if they're on the edge or whatever. All right. After image, it is a great tool to use. It's not as great as Frieza's or Boo's get off me button, but it is something to nothing. After image lets you reposition anytime you need to, and if you're getting attacked, you can, like, getting comboed or melee comboed, you can use this during the animation of you getting melee comboed to get off and reposition or move somewhere else. And it is also faster than you're flying. So if you need to catch up to a survivor that is running away pretty quickly, you can use this to catch up to them. Now the downside of stage 2 is that he can't handle more than one person. He is heavily reliant on taking out one person at a time. He can't go after more than one person. He can if he downed the first person and go after the next one. But if those two decided to jump in at the same time, he will have a hard time dealing with both. I mean, after image, you can get him off you a bit. Solar Flare, you can get him off you a bit. But in terms of trying to get, damage them both, you can't. He is hard. He has a struggle doing that. And that's why it is very important to focus down one person and go after them right away, and then getting that down to get to stage 3. He can't cover that much ground. As for Frieza, he can. Frieza can cover a lot of ground, but for a raider like Cell, he's just one person. He can't cover a lot of ground. So he has to go to an area or objective to secure and search and find. So it's like, oh, I want to go to area D and I want to use my ki detection. Okay, no one's here. Now you have to go to area E and now someone's there. You can't cover area D while you're in area D. It's not impossible. It's not possible. It's just, that's why raiders can't cover a lot of ground in most case scenarios. And another weakness that Cell has is he can easily be jumped. If your after image is down and the survivors know that, they can just beat you to a pulp and you can't do nothing about it. The thing is, you got to use after image very responsively in order to get the benefit out of it. It is your only way to get survivors off you, and it's your only way to protect yourself if things get out of hand. Another downside for stage 2 is if you don't have this passive skill, life absorption, maxed out, you could be stuck in this form for a while. Like, you might need 3 survivors and then maybe 1 civilian in order to get out of it. Like for right now, since it's maxed out, I only need 2 survivors and 1 civilian to get out of it, which is a lot better than having maybe 2 civilians and maybe 2 survivors, or 3 civilians and 2 survivors to in order to get out of it. It is really heavy that you need to get this life absorption maxed out so you can easily go to the next phase. Uh, Another downside or another weakness to the Raider is that he can be overpowered by a level 3 and can be overpowered by a level 4 survivor, and uh, can be fought on par with level 2. So yeah, you really need to get out of this form. That's why you need to focus somebody, get somebody down, start eating them, get into stage 3 is more better of a fighting chance than stage 2, because stage 2 you are a single target unit. You can only focus on one person at a time and take down one person at a time. As for stage 3, that's not the case anymore. All right, stage 3, his strengths are his ki blast is changed to a Kamehameha, which is a long range sniping attack that lingers for a little bit and then disappears. He still has the same thing as 2. He has great ki detection. He has great ki tracking. He has after image. He has solar flare. He has the same thing as stage 2, but he has better super attacks with gravity impact, which is a hard hitting single attack. It's basically special beam cannon, and it has a little bit of splash damage. So if there's a little bit of people together, you can definitely hit more than one person with this. But I mostly use this to hit one person and just wanted to get them out of that form really quick. Energy blast volley is a medium range splash damage which can handle more than one person. You can use this on a single target, which can definitely take somebody out of their form a lot quicker than gravity impact, because when they're getting hit by energy blast, they can't do they keep getting hit and stun lock, and they can't do nothing about it when energy blast. You can use it to go against multiple people if there's like more than 2 people together. This is definitely a good use, and it's also good for getting people off objectives. You can use this to, literally, if they're in a cave, you can blow them up in there and punish them for being in a cave by just activating this skill, and it's great. So basically, his strengths is now he can take on more than one person, which is great. He's not flawed by the second form where he can only focus down one person. As for his third form, he can now focus down more than one person, and he is more of a bigger threat than ever, unlike his final form. Now, the weaknesses that he has in stage 3 is due to the fact that his ki blast is a Kamehameha. It is very predictable to know when he's about to fire it. Like, you hear him saying it and you hear the charge going off. So if a survivor has been playing well long enough, they can press the dodge button the moment the animation goes off for his ki blast to hit. He's like, Kamehameha! And then the moment he blasts, the survivor dodges. It is very easy to dodge his Kamehameha. But yeah, there's no buts. It's just that it's a lot easier for survivors to dodge his ki blast. So it's usually recommended to use his super attacks to get survivors, because his ki blasts tend to not always hit. But if you hit him, it's like, okay, free hits. It's basically, you can basically snipe Bomba bikes easily if they're running them. It's just got to make sure you're not locked onto them. Just try to aim ahead of them and shoot the ki blast, because it lingers. Think of it like a wall. You can put a wall in front of a Bomba bike for like maybe 3 seconds, and if he's still running in that direction and you hit your ki blast because it's still there, they'll come off of it. His weaknesses still is that he's on par with level 3 now, level 3 survivors, but he can't beat a level 4 survivor. So that's his only weakness, other than that he can't cover a lot of ground. Without a life absorption, he can't get out of it too. That's his other weakness. And can be easily jumped if after image is down, but that's for all of his phases. That's a constant weakness that he has, being able to get jumped when he has no after image. On to stage 4. If you happen to be luckily in stage 4, it's pretty much almost GG in your favor. And it's almost your win guarantee unless they use the time machine. All right, we'll just go over his strengths. His strength is that his ki blast is just like the second form. No more Kamehameha. They can't dodge it, which is great. But his ki blasts are as fast. It's a lot faster than it was in his second form. Does more splash damage and hits harder, which is phenomenal. You can spam this ki blast as much as you want. You can play the range game if you want. You don't have to get close and personal at all. He still has the ki detection that allows him. He still has the ki detection just like his second and third form. He still has ki controls to hide his aura, solar flare. Solar flare if they get close. Blind them a bit. Do whatever you want. After image, same thing. Second and third form is after image. But the other strengths that he gets for being in his final form is that he gets his energy barrier, which is a third defensive move other than having 2 defensive moves. Now, this energy barrier is not really used a lot whenever you're fighting. You usually use this energy barrier to get people off the time machine if they're using it to protect themselves. You can use that to pop them off the time machine when you get close enough. And if they're fighting back, somehow miraculously fighting back and getting close to you, you can use this whenever they start trying to go for a melee attack, which only a level 4 can do. But yeah, it can also be a breathing room. You can't take any damage when your energy blast is going off, so you can't take any damage. And then after it's done, you can dodge away. It's basically let me breathe kind of move. If you're feeling overwhelmed by the survivors, by them shooting rocket launchers or doing stuff or not giving you some time and space, it's a breathing room technique. Not used for fighting, but mostly used for people who are getting up close. It's a better solar flare. If I had this over solar flare, I would take it. Like for stage 2 to stage 3, if I had this other than solar flare, I would take it. But it's better than solar flare. He also unlocks a new super move called All Clear, which is basically a single target hard hitting attack that does a horizontal. It literally can, if you land this on any survivor, is basically they're out of their phone or just like a snap of a finger. Really great to use, especially when you're going against a level 4. You can go just key, all clear, and he's done. He's out of it. Like Shinron didn't really matter. All clear is great. And he also unlocks Perfect Kamehameha, which is his global raider attack, which all raiders get. The thing about Perfect Kamehameha, or Kamehameha, sorry, is that they only get 3 seconds to get out of your fire, your area of destruction. If they don't get out of it within the 3 seconds, then they'll die. It is, I would say, is the fastest global destruction in the game, other than Frieza and Boo. Even if they're in caves or under a rock or anything, like it will destroy them. So they can't hide it in buildings. They just got to be out of the the blast radius. They can't even hide behind a rock to protect themselves. Like it is that strong. Another benefit is that he can instantly kill survivors. No more revives. They're done. If you finish off a survivor, they're dead. When you down a survivor while in this form, they have 15 seconds. 15 seconds is too short of a time for anybody to be revived or saved. So you can let them bleed out and you can go on to the next person. And in this form, you can easily handle anybody. Like literally anybody. Nobody can stop you. A level 4 comes up rolling your way. You just whop them off like a fly. They can't stop you. Anyway, on to weaknesses. There is none. He's perfect. He is the perfect form, the perfect Cell. There is no weaknesses for Cell when he's in final form. It's pretty much GG at that point. But yeah, that's pretty much Cell. Now, if I have to give him a rating on difficulty, I would give him a medium. Reason why, because going through all of his forms can be a little bit tricky and hard if survivors know what they're doing and trying to keep their distance and not let you eat them. And if you don't have life absorption maxed out, then you're going to have a hard time. He's a medium character. He he has his strengths and weaknesses throughout all the forms, but until he gets perfect, it's not a guaranteed win almost in your favor. But yeah, those are Cell's strengths and weaknesses. I hope you understand his playstyle is search and destroy, and he's mostly used for finding survivors and hunting them down. And he's my main because I love Cell as a character. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this Cell guide, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of Frieza and Boo, which I'll go over their strengths and weaknesses. But hey, Ultimo Bushido heading out, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.